You're now tuned in to my main man, Dubs. If you want that garbage, go somewhere else. If you want that music that matters, he came to the right spot. Hey, Dubs, talk to him.
This is not for the weak-hearted. Ever since the beat started, the flow switched up from...
What's up, fight fans? This is Counterpunch with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning David Haye. David Haye warns Roy Jones Jr. that there's no such thing as an exhibition when Mike Tyson is in a fight, okay? As he predicts the winner of their September showdown, he says if Roy Jones doesn't get caught with one of those Tyson bombs in the first 2 rounds with his superior skills in terms of timing, speed, and agility, I think he could pull away with it, okay? Yet, the 2-time champion turned premium mass entrepreneur, he says this, though. But if it turns into a slugfest early and Roy Jones gets caught with just one of those crazy combinations that we've seen him doing on the pads recently, it could be very dangerous, he added. It could be game over. Because Tyson is much naturally bigger. Roy Jones in his prime was probably 12 stones, 168 pounds. Mike Tyson, about 15 and a half stones, a big difference. He's not taller, but he's thicker set. He's just a much bigger animal. He says, how many explosions have Mike Tyson got in him at 54? I don't know. If he has 10 big explosive bursts, I'd be surprised because it takes so much energy for him to throw those amazing combinations. But if in a 6-punch combo, 1 or 2 land on the chin, it could be the end, okay? You know, I go through this and I hear David Haye on his take. I absolutely agree with him. I just think that Roy, at this point of his career, the question is not how much Mike has, okay? And this is kind of bleeding into a fight study because I got to do a video separate to that just to explain how these fighters could prevail. But according to David Haye, okay, David Haye, I think he favors Roy Jones because I think he mimicked his style after him. If you think about David Haye's fighting style and his ability, I think he was more like a cruiserweight, heavyweight version of Roy Jones. He did a lot of emulation of Roy. If you look at the way he fought, it was unorthodox. He punched from his waist, you know, his style, you know, it was very tricky. You know, I think Roy was just better, but I think he got a lot of his style and movement and characteristics, you know, where he emulated a certain fighting style. I think it would be Roy Jones. I think that's the reason for it. Okay? The only 3 years of age difference, right? Even though Mike looks a hell of a lot older, but Roy Jones Jr. is no spring chicken. So, he thinks that with the speed and the agility that he still has, he can survive the 2 rounds and, you know, pull away with it. You know, we'll see. But one thing I must add about David Haye and what he said, you know, fighting Mike Tyson, you know, it's no such thing as an exhibition. I believe that. But the reasons I believe that is because it's not because of what he's been doing on the pads lately. It's because what he's done in the past. Okay? Mike Tyson was famous or infamous for doing one of the most out of the ordinary, extraordinary fouls that we ever had when he bit a piece off of Evander Holyfield's ear. Okay? Now, that shows you that if he gets mad, there's no hold barred, and a lot of people would go to see Mike Tyson fights. Not to see him knock someone out, to see what else he could possibly do because he's so sporadic. You know, maybe it was the drugs that he was taking because we knew he was clearly on drugs at the time. He had a lot of people, multiple people to piss for him. But He was in the I mean, you could set him to that level and something could break out in that fight that did not involve boxing. See, that's what David Haye's missing. He's missing that. You know, because Roy could do something. Let's say Roy, throws one of those quick unorthodox right hands after the bell. Tyson might retaliate right then and there. So it could be a situation like that. You know what I mean? There's no such thing as an exhibition, especially with Roy, because I mean, with Mike, I think Roy's pretty level-headed. If anything, he was a showman. But Mike Tyson was a whole different animal. You know, again, with the weight difference, I agree with David Haye. Okay, I agree with everything he said, except I think of the style, because I think he favors him because he looks at his own style, you know, from Roy. I think he got a lot of his style from Roy. But yeah, I mean, it just shows you that Roy has to be careful. I mean, they both have to be careful because I mean, it is a fight between two legends. You know, so you know, let's just cut it out that Mike is so much bigger now than Roy. But Mike is the natural bigger guy, and I am interested to see what happens when he does throw 5-6 punches at Roy Jones, and what is Roy Jones going to do if he's against the ropes? Okay, he's isolated. He's in the corner. You know, he's cornered him. He can cut the ring off on this guy and weaved and got caught with a punch. It could be over at one night, at one time, in one punch. But of course, that's what I would wish for anyway, because, you know, better the sooner than the later when it comes to this brutal sport, the sport that I love, that I hate so much. So we will see. You guys tell me what you think about David Haye's warning to Roy Jones Jr. Please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.